Hi, I'm Julie Parsons. I'm a sociologist based at the University of Plymouth, and for the last 7 years I've been lucky enough to work on a series of funded research projects at Landworks. Landworks is a resettlement and rehabilitation project that works with prisoners and people at risk of going to prison. Loosely, all of the projects I've been involved with have been about giving people who are criminalised a voice and to be able to tell their stories in their own words. And it's these voices that are rarely heard. I think as a sociologist, I'm really interested in the structural and systemic problems that these individuals face, but also about the lived experience of the criminal justice system. And these projects are able to give us a real insight into what it's like for people dealing with multiple disadvantages, I guess, and the trauma of criminalisation. So I've done 3 projects. The first one was about commensality, which means eating together around a table. And I wanted to explore what it was like for the people who come out to Landworks to share food every day with people from the community, and cook together and eat together and so on. And it was while I was doing that project that one of the ambassadors for Landworks, he gave me the idea for how can we capture how the guys at Landworks are getting on with the project and how they're getting on in prison. So that gave me the idea for the PEN project, which is a photographic electronic narrative project. And basically this involves interviewing people at Landworks and co-creating a blog post with pictures of some of the things that they've achieved while they've been at Landworks. And we publish the blogs, and they get lots of responses from people who visit and people who don't know them, and it's a really positive experience. And then after that, I've been doing what we call the Finishing Time project, which is following people after they've been through Landworks into the community after punishment. And again, this is about capturing their stories in their own words, and it highlights some of the issues that they face being criminalised and trying to reintegrate back into the community, really, whether that's around relationships or work or accommodation, or the multiple issues that they have to face, as well as the trauma of being criminalised and the stigma associated with criminalisation.
I run the workshop at Landworks. I've been here for about 5 years now, or 6 years in total, but 5 years employed here working. I normally have 2 or 3 guys a day with me in the workshop. Generally on a normal day-to-day, somebody will help cook, prepare the food, and just put out this really nice lunch for everybody. Quite often you'll get people that have bad days that really don't feel like talking, or they've just so it's nice to get those people included as well. Everybody likes to be included, and there's just a nice vibe around the food itself. And it's nice that people are enjoying it. It's nice to prepare food for people and to see them enjoying it and liking it. It's a nice feeling. It's a normal feeling. It makes you feel human. The final 12 months of my sentence, I came out to Landworks, released on temporary licence, Monday to Friday. I guess in my mind at the time it was maybe a little excuse just to get out of the prison after being in there for 2.5 years. And I think once I came out here, it became a lot more than that. I think coming out here, people trusted me with tools again. In the prison, you're not trusted with anything. Everything's checked in on shadow boards and that. It's all very degrading, if I'm honest. So when I came out here, to be trusted with tools in my hand again, and left to my own devices to get on with something, it was a real form of normality again. It was nice. I like the fact that Landworks didn't judge me for what I'd done, and they were trying to help me back into society to lead my life again, I guess. I think it made me a better version of myself. Without me coming to Landworks, I would have definitely struggled when I came out of prison. I know I would have struggled. I've got a really good supportive family around me and that. But I think my 12 months at Landworks before I left prison, it was good for my self-worth, my inner being. It made me realise I wasn't this bad person that I guess prison made me feel that I was. And I like the fact now that I can when people come to Landworks, either from the community or from the prison, I understand where they're coming from. I definitely have a good understanding. I have a lived understanding, I guess. I've never had any form of counselling or anything. And when I was first offered a counsellor here when I came to Landworks, I think I was quite against it really. I was like, no, I'm not broken, there's nothing wrong with me. And I guess I was looking at it from the wrong angles. And I found by talking to a counsellor, by talking to the people that worked at Landworks as well, just getting it off my chest, talking to people that I felt I could trust, it made me realise that I wasn't this worthless person. I didn't need to second guess myself. I'd made a huge mistake in my life, but life still goes on. You have to, at some point, you need to put that to bed and move on, I think, and I got that from Landworks.
As a society, I think if we're really serious about rehabilitation and resettlement for people, if we really want to welcome them back into the community, then we have to do more for them to support them, and we also need to listen to their stories and get a real insight into the lived experience of what it is to be criminalised. And this has an impact, you know, way beyond the end of the prison sentence. And what's been brilliant about Landworks is that it keeps in touch with the people, which is unheard of in statutory agencies that are responsible for prisoners or people with sentences. They never hear how they get on, whereas at Landworks they're still coming back years later. So it's been a real privilege to listen to their stories and about getting back into the community and life after Landworks, I suppose.
I was a career criminal, ended up coming to Landworks, and it was a very, very good timing for me. You know, I had lots of issues that I needed to look at, but I also needed time, and you know, and they gave me that time. For me, the main thing has been they're really, really good at expressing themselves and showing what it's like really. I think what happens when you come from my sort of background, or any sort of background like mine, is you don't know how to show your feelings because you've got to guard yourself. Do you know what I mean? You've got to be focused. You can't let people in, you know. And I think that brings a lot of damage within itself. I think a lot of us, coming from our backgrounds, like we expect it to be instant gratification. Well, actually, it's not like that. If you've done something for so many years, it takes quite a long time to go through the process, understand what's gone on. We're here quite often, you know, I've sat there with Julie, and me and Julie have had discussions about all sorts of things, you know, even when we've been doing the, you know, pen project, you know, and we'll talk about stuff and, you know, share well up, and it's really important for people like me to see that, you know, because I'm used to, as I say, people being guarded and all that sort of stuff. So I suppose it's gave me that human contact, and, you know, they've allowed me to express it here, whether it be talking, whether it be working, you know, so I've been quite blessed with all of it. It's quite interesting actually, as you watch it over a period of time, it's really, really interesting, because obviously the first interview is like, you know, how you finding Landworks, you know, what you're getting out of Landworks and all that sort of stuff. So what she does is over a period of time, say like 6 months or whatever, she'll interview you at different stages and you'll explore your journey. It actually goes on, it goes online, so you can see my journey as well. Do you know what I mean? It's really interesting that when I first started, yeah, you could see I was like making these hedgehogs out of cones, and I was sitting there laughing, yeah. And Chris walked in and went, "What are you laughing at?" I went, "Well, I used to be an armed robber." I went, "Now look at me, I'm making these like little hedgehogs." Yeah, and then I've gone from there to now, I've actually just, through Landworks and through other people and everything that I've done with Julie, with the, you know, pen project and things like that, I've just managed to get a job with the NHS, with the criminal justice side, on the mental health side. And I feel really, really proud of that, because for me it's about, you know, giving back. As you come here, as you go through your journey here, yeah, they'll obviously go through all different things, what you can do here, but what they try and do over a period of time is they try, like, for example, like I went and found some work at the Rare Breed Farm in Totnes, some charity work that was away from Landworks. And that's really important, because people have to go through this process. Obviously, you can't keep everybody, can you? You know what I mean? You know, it just wouldn't happen. So what they do over a long period of time, they help you to grow and find confidence in lots of different areas. So it's not the case if you come here Yeah, you go to the land works, you do your pen project thing, and that's it, you move on. They stick with you, you know, for years, because it takes years to change. I don't care what anyone says. And, you know, it was only, I'll be honest with you, it was only about 3 or 4 months ago, I was looking out my window and I thought to myself, where's all this going really? Am I kidding myself? And then all of a sudden I've landed this job. I always thought this other job that I've got, yeah, that's probably the best I'll get. But actually it's not the best I've get, and I'm improving and, you know, getting further and further down the ladder, whatever you want to call it, doesn't really matter what you want to call it. I think what you could call it probably is self-worth. Do you know what I mean? I've got a lot of self-worth now. I feel quite proud of myself. I've never really been proud before. I thought I had, but I hadn't really. So, you know, I've done quite well.
Ministry of Justice estimates for reoffending are approximately £18 billion a year. So just from a sort of financial point of view, it's really important that people don't reoffend and don't get stuck and locked in that cycle of reoffending. But also on a human level, we want people to be the best that they can be, and if we're holding them back because of a criminal label, then they're not going to be contributing to society, and they're not going to be feeling good about themselves. And maybe criminals shouldn't be allowed to feel good about themselves, but actually, you know, they're not going to achieve as much if they're not able to think that they're making a positive contribution. And that's really interesting, because a lot of the guys who come here, they really want to put something back. They see what goes on, and they see everyone helping each other out, and they think, oh, this is possibly not quite real, it's a bit of a bubble, but also they want to be part of that, and they want to make positive contributions to society and to do things and to change the perceptions that people have of people with criminal records.
The whole prison system is a bit of a, how would you describe it? It's broken, yeah. Not a nice experience, prison, at all. When I got home from prison, it didn't seem like my home. I'd been away for 2.5 years. The house had been decorated. My wife, she got into her own routine. I'd got my routine, and it was just weird. And then it was applying for jobs. You apply for a job, and every job application, any unspent convictions, if yes, what is it? The resentment that comes your way, because all this comes after the prison. So prison, as shit as it was actually the better part. Coming home was a harder part, because there's more to deal with. In prison you get nothing to deal with, just keep your head down and that's it. But coming home, man, that was tough. When I first come to Landworks, I wasn't sure what I was going to do here, and to be honest with you, I hated it. I hated everything about Landworks. It was too twee, people were too nice, and I thought quite frankly, I thought it was bollocks. Then they had me doing pinch pots, which I hated. I looked at the wheel, could I use the wheel? Have a go, see what you do. And had a go at the potter's wheel and sort of took it from there. Yeah, I just really got into it. And the more I got into it, the more I understood it, and the more I got from it. And then I thought a bit more about what Landworks was. What I got from it is totally personal to me, and it's more of an acceptance of you as a person. It's an acknowledgement of, yeah, it's shit, and it's hard, and it's an acknowledgement that at least someone's out there trying to do something. So I get it, but it took me a while to get that, you know what I mean? And even now I still question it sometimes, because before prison, the people at Landworks are the people I would have hung around with anyway. So coming here as a prisoner was a bit embarrassing. I felt a bit of a prick. So I had a lot of anger to deal with about my situation. But I worked through it, and through coming to Landworks really, and just talking to everybody and talking to the other guys that were here, I just learned a bit about myself really, and it gave me what I needed. When I started doing the pen project stuff, and then being able to talk about what I was getting from Landworks, it was the pottery side that helped me understand what I was getting. And for me, it was more about understanding myself as a human being, as weird as that sounds, and also allowing me to look at myself and examine myself in ways I'd never done before. You know. So I got a lot from the experience. It's important to have these places because it's that support, it's that the chance that people are given. It's that being made to feel worthy. It's being made to feel wanted, you know, and I see that looking in. That's what you get from this place. And I think there should be more of it.
I was involved in a research project called Finishing Time, where I created small videos and took photographs for pen projects here. I think one of the trainees said he's quite touched by what I'd done for them, and he didn't expect it to turn out that way, which was a really nice reaction to have, because I know they were quite nervous, a few of them, to see what it was like back. But it was nice to hear that they enjoyed it, and it's something that they can look back on as well. So for me, I chose this placement because it was something different, and it's something that I'd never heard of before. And I thought, well, why not, like, give it a go, see what it's like. I'm very glad I did, because I'm only local, but I never knew this was here. So, and I've been telling loads more people about it. I've been trying to encourage people to come to the shop as well. So for me, I think it's been a real eye-opener, that this charity, for what it does for the trainees to get them back into the community. And I think the highlight for me was like the community spirit it has here, especially with lunchtime. Like, I think that was my favourite time when I'd had my placement, because everybody would come in from like their different activities. You'd all be sat round chatting about like everything and anything, and it was just a really nice feeling. And it's very like chill and relaxed here, and you just feel very at home, I guess.
That's the ethos of the whole project, is about what's in it for them. That's always, and even with the research, I try and make it so there's something in it for them. So it's not about me getting stuff off them. It's about really trying to give them an opportunity to talk about the impact of criminalisation on their lives, which is ongoing, you know, even once they're back in the community.